got a little bit about staffing and facilities and what we think we're going to end up having to do. Obviously, we're a service industry with $1.4 million deficit. One of the things that we're going to have to really look at is that 85% of our budget is based on staff. In order to get to a balanced budget and be fiscally responsible, which we should be, we're going to have to look at staffing. So, one of the other things is we're still growing with that 5% growth rate. We may need some new additional facilities. So we are going to have to get some type of committee together of the community and start talking about how we might address the growth but still be fiscally responsible and not overburden the taxpayers with some more increases. And I've got some more data on that in a minute. Okay. As an elementary teacher, I like to do some graphic stuff, and I also love to play with data because I'm a recovering service center person. These are the 5 elementary schools, and what these numbers represent are the total number of capacity for those campuses. We have a 700 student capacity. These are each one of the elementary schools, and this is as of Friday, this last Friday. So it's unrefined data. It's the raw data, so we haven't gone through and made sure that everything's exactly perfect because we haven't had to submit to the state yet. Okay, what these numbers represent are the actual enrollments as of Friday last week, and this is the percentage of capacity at those campuses. You can see I highlighted a couple for you. This one here is at 88%, so it's getting close to capacity, and this one here is at 95%, which is really close to capacity. And one thing I want to draw your attention to is Veterans Hill right now is only sitting at 65%. So we've done something elective. When folks are coming into Ray and Nadine Johnson, we've actually told them if they're close to going over the 22-to-1 ratio in the lower classes, we've offered folks in that class, those classes, transfers to Veterans Hill or one of the other campuses where we have some space. The reason why we're doing that is, first of all, we don't want to force people out of a campus attendance zone, but we also want to be fiscally responsible because we have teachers at those campuses that don't have full loads, and we can add them there without adding a new teacher to that campus and not add about a $50,000 expenditure to the district budget. And we've already employed the teachers at the other campus. So, and it won't hurt in terms of education, it won't hurt those kids in those classrooms in the other smaller student-teacher ratio classrooms. At the secondary schools is really the issue that we have in the district. When attendance was looking like, and enrollment was looking like it was going to go through the roof before the housing market kind of tanked, we were on track to get ahead of the wave. And what we did was we ended up building 2 middle schools with quite a bit of capacity. These are the capacity 1,200 and 2,400 for the high school. We got ahead of the wave at the secondary. The problem is that the wave stopped or slowed down tremendously. So we're pretty inefficient at these campuses. We've got 49% occupancy in one and 53% in another. So the first thing I thought, well, we'll just mothball campus for a year and we'll save some staffing money. It won't work because there's not enough room at the campus. This would blow the capacity at either one of the campuses. We could throw some portables in there, but we really don't have any really that would make up all the difference here. And over the course of this year, we're going to blow it some more anyway. So efficiency-wise, that's not going to work. So one of the reasons why I think we need to get a committee together is we need to really take a hard look at how we organize our campuses and what we might do to utilize the current buildings and maybe not have to go out for that second element or that 6th elementary school, or at least delay it a little bit, so that way we can save some money and be ready for whatever else hits us in the future. This is just a quick and dirty thing that I do on my spare time. My wife thinks I'm crazy. These are the numbers broken out by grade level of how many students we have, and these are grouped for the elementary. The total capacity is about 83%. Total capacity for middle school is 51. Total capacity for high school is 54. What I did was I projected out that 5% growth, plus I aged the cohorts. For instance, if you're in middle school, you see that 461 kids next year are going to go out here, but they're going to replace only 412. So the middle school is actually going to grow by several kids. So I added those in there as well. The demographer said that was pretty good of me. So I talked to him yesterday, and my numbers are pretty close to what his conservative estimate are. So you can see we're going to get to a point pretty quickly where we're over capacity in elementary, but we still have some opportunities in middle school, so we may restructure or something in order to save some money in the district and still serve kids well. Fiscal position. You like my graphic? Thank you. Do I get points for that? Coach Hale didn't put a hippo that opened his mouth. That's,
The wiggly ears.
the wiggly ears are good too. And it's $1 too. So. This is one of the things that our business manager loves to see. We're over 100% in our tax collections. We have to hit 96% tax collections, and that includes delinquents as well. So, and we continue to be over 100% our tax collections. In terms of fund balance, here's what's happening. We did a great job of building it up here, and then we've been all over the place. Then that growth hit, and we just could not keep up, and we couldn't keep our fund balance. Now, in the last few years, we were able to build it up, but now we're deficit spending. And part of it's because of that housing market dropped on us and we're having to staff. And the other part of it is related to the school finance system, which I'll get to in a second. In terms of revenues and expenditures, this is the year that hit us where we flip-flopped for the first time. It was back in fiscal year 2009. And we started outpacing, expenditures outpacing revenues. In terms of our fiscal position on our school first rating, again, we're in great shape in general, although we're deficit budgeting, and we're going to have to get a handle on that. We're superior again, that's the highest rating. It's over the 10th year now that we've been superior, and that takes into account a lot of things going on in the district. We're going into the third year of a deficit budget. And then we've been able to keep the tax rate at $1.04. You've seen a lot of, in the state of Texas, about a third of the districts now have gone for a tax rate election to operate their district. And we have not. And we've still been able to keep from going to the voters on that. We're going to have to look at cutting positions or reallocating them. We're going to have to look at redistributing our funds to balance our budget next year. That's just the reality of the game, and I don't think the legislature is going to be able to save us because there's no money to save us. In terms of our fiscal position, we still have to meet our rising electrical, transportation, and other uncontrolled costs. And if we do a cost of living adjustment for staff, or if it's just cost of living for us, because everything's more expensive in the future. So we got that 85% expenditures in payroll. That means that we have to reduce those units. And I really don't think that there's going to be any legislative action to address school finance. We only got that temporary relief back in 06, 07. And there really hasn't been any significant money put into the system. It's actually been drained from the system. We are held harmless to that 2005-2006 school year, and what that means is we are guaranteed at least that level of money. But what did this district look like in 2005-2006? It was a completely different animal. There were a lot less kids, and that's what's really hurting us right now. And we also end up, we're locked into a system that doesn't generate enough money to meet our needs for new kids. So we're spending a lot of money building facilities. We are also spending a lot of money manning them. And it's just not a very equalized system right now. This is what it looks like in terms of a pie chart. And this is an oversimplification about finance. You got two districts with 5,000 students roughly. It does not matter if there is a low property value. That just means that the state makes up more of the pie, the funding pie. Or if it's a higher property value, it just means that the taxpayers pay a bigger burden, the local property taxpayers. The pie doesn't get any bigger with the current finance system. It's all based on kids. The more kids that come to school, the more money you generate. The problem is the more costs you have as well. And you don't make up any difference in terms of your local property taxes. The pie just shifts who pays the pie.